Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp and to that video where we try not to expand our backlogs and fail miserably. Now congratulations to the person who won a free game last week. Sorry it took me so long to get it across to you, but unfortunately if you don't have EU accounts then it makes it quite difficult. So yeah, if you want to win, make sure you've got an EU account on your Switch. Sometimes I'm able to get US codes, but yeah, it's just easier. Okay, it has been a very interesting week. Lots of health issues, things up and down, but it's looking up. I'm about to go and see the Paw Patrol movie with my kids. Hang on, I just said looking up, didn't I? Oh man. Still, I can snack on some popcorn and stuff and pay overpriced, extortionate rates on sweets. Happy days. Alright, what are the best games on sale this week? Well, let's find out. First up, we've got the outstanding West of Loathing. This was absolutely amazing and I didn't expect it when I first played it, based honestly on the superficial fact that it looks it's black and white and filled with stickmen. It's actually a really funny turn-based RPG that was developed by Asymmetric. And it's absolutely massive. It's filled with different choices. You collect hats as you go along. Don't ask, it's just one of the many interesting mechanics. And even though it does try hard to be funny, it actually succeeds a lot of the time. I really enjoyed this. It was one of my games of the year when it came out, all the way back in 2018. West of Loathing is just £5.50. That's 50% off, which I'm sure you are aware is a bargain, and that's until November the 24th. Right on the back of that, and it has to be done, if you've played West of Loathing, you finished it, you enjoyed it, you might not have realised that the sequel Shadows of Loathing actually came out. That's currently on its cheapest ever price. It's 15 quid, down 25%. And it's a completely different setting and location entirely, featuring monsters, mob members, and your Uncle Murray. It's all set in and around a place called Ocean City. But if you enjoyed the first game, you're going to love this, and especially the new setting. They really have done it nicely. It's full of one-liners, tons of language straight out of 1920s, and you'll find some talking frogs in there as well, so yeah, there is that. That one's 873 megs, and that sale goes on until November the 24th. I've got to get at least one roguelite in here. This is a roguelite RPG called Crown Trick. It has quite cool strategy-based, turn-based combat. It's one of those where the whole game moves when you move. I think they call that synchronous turn-based. And when you defeat the more powerful monsters in the world, you basically gain their abilities. You may think you've played every roguelite, and let's be honest, most of them are the find 3 items, choose one and then upgrade and move on. But this feels very different. If you are a roguelite fan and you're looking for something that, is slightly off the wall, then consider Crown Trick. It's just £3.99. That's 75% off until November the 20th. I would never have recommended these next two games had we not done a sponsored video for them about a month ago, and I found myself really enjoying them. Now it's Vampire the Masquerade the New York bundle, which includes 2 games. They are visual novels, but they have some RPG elements in them. In Coteries of New York, you get to choose one of 3 different characters, and they're part of different vampire houses. The decisions you make will obviously shape the game, and they have lovely art styles and really good soundtracks. Now the second game, they kind of went for a more focused approach where you have a single, I almost called it a curated protagonist. You probably know what I mean by that, like it's a set storyline for one character rather than you being the character and creating your own story. If you want to live out your memories of Blade or that other vampire film with Tom Cruise in it, what was that called? Totally forgotten. Probably American Vampire or something. No, that was a graphic novel, wasn't it? Interview with a Vampire. That's what it's called. Good film, that. But anyway, if you want to live out those fantasies, then consider Vampire the Masquerade, the New York bundle. You're looking at 7.4 gigs to download it. And obviously, inherently, there'll be lots of reading. That sale goes on until December the 9th at just £5.21. Still on sale. Why haven't you picked it up yet? It's BALDO and the Guardian Owls, which obviously isn't just BALDO and the Guardian Owls anymore. It's BALDO and the Guardian Owls, and then 3 other entirely new standalone story experiences that you can start from the main menu, including the final chapter which just released. Now yes, I mentioned this last week, but I'm going to mention it again because they definitely deserve it. The amount of work they've put into it, you're looking at around 70 hours of content now, which is just ludicrous. And that small little Italian team over at Naps, they really have done a good job. That's £15.74, 30% off until November the 15th. Here's an interesting one. I would class this as a real flawed gem, or like there's a potential here, but you're gonna, personally I'll be looking into some other reviews and things, but it's called, I think it's Tasamachi or Tasamaki behind the twilight. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, someone can help me in the comments. But the thing with it is, it's got such a lovely relaxing setting, but it's also from a very, very small developer, and you can kind of see the clunkiness there. I think I actually saw a physical of this on PlayAsia. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think I did. It's based on a girl called Yukumo who travels around inside her airship. Basically, the airship breaks down and she goes around looking for parts to fix it. You can freely explore it. I think it never quite hits its stride, so it's like quite interesting. There's like a bit of collecting here and then, there's a bit of platforming, which does feel a little bit janky. It looks like really nice. I think it looks lovely, but you can still have, I don't know, it's still quite a relaxing place just to be for the 4 or 5 hours the game lasts. So yeah, a bit of a flawed one that, but potential. It's currently half price, which is the cheapest it's ever been on Switch, and that goes on until November the 15th. In the US, you've got a tasty little sale on a game called 7th Sector. That's down to half price, and it's so very clever. Like, I was really impressed with this one. It's all set in like a dystopian future, and you basically play as like a broken out AI that can travel through circuitry and systems, inhabiting different machines and solving various puzzles while moving through the world. And like, you'll go through like someone's house and you'll see them sat down on a chair and stuff, and it's like the story's playing out in the background while you're doing your thing in the foreground. It's really clever. It's under a gig as well to download. It's half price, as I say, and that's until November the 22nd. Bright Memory Infinite, the gold edition, was created by one person, and it ends up looking better than a lot of the first person shooters we've got on Switch, and it has gyro controls, and yeah, it plays well. Now there's a mixture of melee combat in here, ranged, there are some boss fights. Its biggest weakness is just the fact that obviously with it only being a single developer, it's not the longest. There are some cool powers here, like you can grab enemies and throw them around. There are different types of grenades, homing missiles. It's really well designed. I'd love to see what he does next, but still, I do like to support it, and it's 20% off at the moment, which matches its cheapest ever price, and that's until November the 15th. Now I know this one's definitely on sale in the US. It's Chronicle of Two Heroes, which is down 56% until November the 20th. It's an action adventure slash platformer where you get to play as, yeah, you probably guessed it, two different heroes that have very different abilities. It's actually very slick, this one. It's nice and precise. There are some quality boss fights, including this like bird guy, and I think it does a lot with the pixel art style. Now it's not without its flaws, which is why I haven't mentioned it in another sales video before, but down at this price, which is its cheapest ever, I think it's more than worth it. You're looking at around about 6 to 10 hours, but maybe like 12 to 13 if you want to do absolutely everything. That sale goes on until November the 20th. If you're a fan of top-down puzzle adventures, then you might want to look at Timeline, a slightly cringy play on Timeline, but that's basically how the game's set up. You can control time, dragging it forward and backwards to undo your past events, and you control both a girl and a cat. There's a little bit of a stealth element to it as well, where you're trying to evade being detected, and you're gradually trying to escape this unusual place. I love this style. I think this is such a nice style for games. Doesn't need to be massive amount of pixels to still have a real quality to it. It's just 2.1 gigs, that one. The sale on it goes on until November the 24th. It's 75% off. Last but not least, before we look at a couple of Savaloys, we've got the kids pick this week, and my daughter's been enjoying Spirit of the North. Now Glen reviewed this for us on the channel. We quite enjoyed it. It was fine. It's just a bit of a walking simulator. There is a bit of puzzling in here as well, but it's not overly complex. I think the main thing here is that it's the experience, isn't it? Seeing those environments, there's a bit of environmental storytelling as well, and it's set in and around the mysterious landscapes of Iceland. Now, while I mentioned that it has environmental storytelling, there's no set narrative, so you won't be hearing, a narrator telling you anything. There's no dialogue in there. The story kind of comes from the journey and what you see in the background. That one is currently 70% off, taking it down to £5.99 until November the 14th. Okay, so that's then the queue for us to look at a few Savaloys. Those games are about £2.99 here in the UK, or your regional equivalents. It's almost like the bargain bucket from back in the day. First up then, and this is previously, well, when I reviewed it, I absolutely slated it, and it comes with a huge disclaimer. There are other better games out there, but at the moment, Modern Combat Blackout is £1.75. You might wonder why I'm actually recommending it. Since it originally launched, they fixed up the multiplayer quite a lot. So the multiplayer is it actually works now. So if you're after a first-person shooter that has working multiplayer, that's probably that's about as nice a thing as I can say about it. It works, and it's only £1. So if you want an online multiplayer experience, then consider it. But for the overall game, I think I gave it 38%. So yeah, definitely in the bargain Savaloy selection. Yes, Your Grace is a very cool game. It's currently just £2.32, 85% off. This is like a kingdom management RPG. People come to you, ask for your advice or for various things. You can then choose whether you help them or let them go on their way, and that will have various consequences. There are also other side quest lines for you to take. And yeah, as you play as King Eric, you get to do quite a few kingly things, some of them nice and some of them really not very nice at all. But managing that kingdom is really quite intriguing, and at that price I'd be considering it. So that's it for this week. Quite a short one, but we had an extra sales video in the week. I think it was Wednesday, so if you missed that, I'll pop a link to that in the description and the top pinned comment so you can get double the sales. Save yourself some money on all of these. Use the discount codes there in the description, either for physical over at PlayAsia or digital over at our website switchup.gg using code SwitchUp. Thanks to all of you, to our Patreons and members, and as always, for all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!